Oh, there's Matt again. Boom.
Yeah, we're back. Oh, Matt, hey, I thought we were going Cathay when we are going Russian
Oh,
time.
dude, we fucked that up so many times throughout it. Like we've been calling people by their names and fuck.
Well,
I'm not trying
it
to be a
happens.
shithead about it, but if this was 1980s, I'd have my fucking head cut off. But
Yeah, I was trying to go kayfabe for you too and call you Rush, but
yeah, I try
okay.
to go. Okay, I try to remember to do that, but I'm like, fuck, because I do so many different things. I'm like, okay, who am I today?
Yeah.
Russia's mind isn't what it once was.
It's a lot better.
Lucky you.
It's a lot better to me, so I don't give a fuck.
Well, hey, as long as it's a lot better to you, that's the main thing.
That's it. Oh,
We were getting into the Brett and Owen type thing.
Yeah, the
I'll
Brett.
ask Rush that same question. Brett or Owen?
for me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd say Brett. I mean, Owen for his time when I got to watch him and stuff, that was great. Like I ordered the fucking PPV like over the edge there when he died in '99. That was fucking crazy. And
Yeah.
my dad was like, "Why are they having the show go on? Like a guy died." Like he didn't understand it.
I'm shocked they have that on Netflix right now.
Like me and my brother were kind of young at the time. We're just kind of like I'm only like shy of 10. I'm maybe 9 years old. Like so I'm
Yep.
like, oh, I thought it was like the wrestling thing. Like oh he died or something. When that's not how it is. What's going on?
Hey man, how are you?
Doing well, you?
I'm all right.
That's Stu, right?
You were getting into
Yeah.
some really old school stuff there then.
Yeah. This is
Hey, we
Stu
all
from the
like the old
UK. He's
school.
a fan of mine and a good
Actually,
buddy.
having a British guy on here, who's some of your favorites? Growing up and what you were actually able
Obviously,
to
see,
watch.
I'm from a I'm from what you could call the old school. So
World of Sport. Yay.
school, really. Um, so from my perspective, I've been to a SummerSlam in the UK, so
Hey,
I'm like
awesome.
sort of I'm really the old school.
How
So
was
I went to
that
the
to be
event
that
where
live?
I went the SummerSlam, which was Davey Boy versus Brett.
Yep.
Nice.
Um, so real, I mean, it was being a Brett fan and knowing full well what the result was going to be, being held in London. It was always going to be a sort of a Davey Boy, you know. But as I said earlier on, if you want to see sort of technicality in the ring, you were talking about Brett and Kurt Hennig. They were
Yep.
Beast
just,
man Husk.
watch
I'm just reading
watch
comments.
any of those matches.
The what?
Thing is, I'll tell you what. If you watch, there wasn't the shows with Hennigan and Brett that was what really shown on the pay per views. It was the ones that were the dark shows, the ones that have leaked out recently.
Yep.
Watch some of those on YouTube because some of the dark shows are epic. I mean, they are unbelievably good. You
Winning.
know,
That UK SummerSlam. Who else was on that card?
Big shout out to Beast man
um,
Husk. Beast man.
Yeah, Big
I'll
Man
tell
Hunt.
you because
Ah.
I was actually watching it earlier on. Just one second. I'll tell you what it was because it was the one where really you had none of the like I don't think Hogan didn't travel because he was phase where he sort of had that falling out I think with Vince, but let me just check what the full card was now.
Were the Road Warriors
I had to
on
go
that one?
outside. It's fucking hot inside. Fucking shitty.
Yeah, it should have
It
warned
was
you.
92. So let me just go back now. So it started off with there was Duggan and the Bush, the Mountie and the Nasty Boys.
Okay.
Papa Shango and Tito Santana.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
LOD were there, and they were against Money Inc., which was DiBiase and Erwin R. Shyster.
I have a question for you
Hello.
because I never experienced that LOD
Go on.
pop. Is it as legendary as people said it was? Like when they
What's
would
that?
come out, the Road Warriors, when they would
the
come
pop.
out,
Oh,
how
the thing was obviously they were during their LOD time, but I mean I remember them from sort of their sort of away period.
Yep.
And they were or NWC, whatever it was at the time.
NWA, WCW days.
I remember them from then, and I mean they were epic. I mean, to be honest, I mean I tell you who they were on the same level as for coming out live. Because I saw them live as well. Was
Demolition.
Yep.
There was an energy with those guys that honestly you can't really take it in. There was a level of energy that came out of that both of those teams that you can never ever imagine. There is teams like those that are around today that provided that level of energy that everybody just went ballistic. It didn't matter if you were a fan or not; it was just mental.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
it was crazy, it was absolutely crazy. But then there was, but talking about that match though, I remember it now going back because another technical guy who never ever got really, it was never, he should have been given a championship run, and I've had this conversation with countless people, was DiBiase.
Yeah.
He should have been
the title for what?
a championship run.
2 hours.
Well, the thing is, he was. Well, the thing was, he wasn't. The problem was that he was never given a true title run, and he should have been,
I agree.
because he was the best. He was the in the business at the time by far and away. You know, but also as well, what people don't realize about him was technically he was up there with the best of them.
Yep.
I mean, I was actually talking to a guy about this recently, and I said, if you were to put together could you remember the old Survivor series, which was just a fantastic sort of concept, really?
Yep.
He would have been in my team. He would have been, if I was choosing a team, he would have been in there
For sure.
because he was always difficult. He was one of those guys who would do anything to win.
Yeah.
Sounds strange, but anything to win. You know, and as a result, he would have been in there. And technically, he was up there.
He was
Another guy
the
who I
best.
think deserved a run. We're talking about those days. Rick Rude. Rick Rude deserved that belt.
The thing is, I didn't appreciate Rick Rude for what he was until after he passed.
Yeah, same.
I appreciate it because, and I tell you why, because he was so good at playing the heel.
Yep.
Yeah, you didn't like him.
He was so good at playing the heel, and I didn't like him because of that.
Yep.
That was it, exactly.
It's different being a fan.
How dare you make fun of my body?
That was it, exactly.
Yep.
But honestly, he was a genius. He was genius. He was just one of those guys who, when he passed away, I then got it. I understood it. And when I started watching the matches back with him, that guy, he was a true pro. I mean, it was a shame that the back injury put him out of the way he did, because he never really reached the heights that he should have. But he was going to, I guarantee, he would have got a full championship run if he'd have kept going, if he'd have been able to keep going.
Okay, when we're talking
because he was, again, he's another guy. He's another guy who
passed away too soon, but had the potential. Brian Pillman Sr. Where do you think he would have been in the Attitude Era if he hadn't have passed?
Yeah. Davey Boy too.
The problem is, and I mean, it's a tough question, that, and I'll tell you why it's a tough question, because the wrestling industry with guys, they lost a lot of good guys, guys who really were better than they were sold.
I agree. Yep.
And the problem was that really they too soon, really, because if what the world needs really is more of a WWE late 80s to mid 90s now, more than ever, because it had soul, it had spirit.
Yep.
You see, and
it's a lot of spot jockeys now. Spot. No story, just spot. Yeah.
I hate it.
Nailed it. I think back then, because it wasn't as big as it wasn't as big as it is. In fact, I tell you what, I'd argue actually, in terms of the fan base that during that period, I would say there's more of a dedicated fan base then than there is now.
I
Because
agree.
I think the people that are there now they are fans. Don't get me wrong, but they're not fans. They're not.
You know what else ruined wrestling a bit?
And
Cell phones.
well,
To a
funnily
certain
enough,
Like
I mean,
fucking like smartphones, taking videos, people like exposing like, oh, look at this section of this arena, it's fucking empty because they don't like AEW or WWE or ROH or whatever that. They're like, oh, this is bullshit. So why'd you buy a ticket to the fucking show just to expose how shitty they are? It makes no sense.
yeah.
appreciate the
Well, I mean,
talent that's going
the
on in the
problem.
ring.
I mean, I tell you what, Patrick, you landed. What you said before was right. Okay, people don't live for the moment anymore. They don't live for the moment.
Just put your phone on flight
You
and
need
watch the
to be
goddamn
part of.
show.
Correct. That's right. And you need to get in. I mean, I remember my first WWF event, and it was here in Manchester, funnily enough, and it was on one of the European tours, and it was just staggering. You know, I mean, fans were there. That obviously there wasn't a single phone inside because it didn't exist. But the point was that people were there. You know, they were there for the moment. You had kids as young as my son. You know, he's 8 years old. You had kids who were that young running in to the ringside to see people who they absolutely adored and loved more than anything in the world.
Yep.
You know, people wearing their Brett glasses and things like it was a love for it. It wasn't because it was like the in thing to do. It was because it was a love for it, and that's what it was all about. It wasn't about anything else.
Even
Yeah.
back in like 2004, the Red, White, and Bruise tour came to North Bay,
I
and like
remember that one.
JBL
I was
squared
going to
off
bring it up.
against JBL went against Eddie Guerrero, and they had a Texas bull rope match and stuff. There's not a cell phone in sight. The whole fucking Memorial Gardens was
No.
sold out, and they put on a fucking awesome show.
And I tell
Cena
you what,
fought against Booker T for the title, U.S. title, and he won it back. And like, oh, it's fucking awesome.
Was
Like,
it Van Dam versus Booker T, and then Cena was on that show too. Billy Gunn was on that show.
I saw
A lot
two
of
of them. There
guys.
was one with Cena versus Booker T, and then Cena versus someone else. Because I went for both. Because me, my dad, and my brother were like, we're going to see both these fucking things for sure when they come.
I remember the one with Eddie and JBL. JBL was hilarious. And then you also had Van Dam on it, Booker T, Billy Gunn, Chavo, I believe, was there. You had a shitload of guys. Like, well, we grew up, that early 2000s WWE product.
I mean, but
Yeah.
you've just mentioned one guy there who really was out of the guys who went. I mean, Guerrero was special. You
Yes.
know, and and the world never got to see really in the way they should have done. Absolutely spectacular guy. But then you've got another. I mean, in history, though. I've spoken to Patrick about this on text and everything, but I mean, I said follow them all over the place, the old guys, and Jake Roberts is another guy who's obviously into the mental health stuff as well. Jake Roberts, again, I mean, he had a weird sort of body really for wrestling. I mean, he was sort of very, very tall, very, very gangly. The boy could work. You know, he could do the job, and arguably in terms, and this is another conversation I got into about with people saying, what's the most spectacular finishing move, if you will?
DDT.
What's the most spectacular finishing move? And the DDT is up there because I tell you what, nobody does it.
You're dropping a
How
guy in the
Jake
head.
did
Yeah.
it and how Arn Anderson did it. Arn Anderson's DDT was
Yeah,
amazing.
exactly.
Agreed.
See, you've just brought up a guy there straight away who I didn't appreciate Arn Anderson as much as I should have done because again, when he was part of the Brainbusters with Tully Blanchard,
Yep.
they played the role so well. I hated them. And I never appreciated it.
Guys lose track of that old school heat and what actually brought tickets. You bring out
Yeah.
the Brain Busters. I'll bring up my goat, Terry Funk. Terry Funk heat wise, you can't.
Yeah.
He's a massive influence
The
for me
thing
and
is,
Tom there. Yeah.
I was about to,
Terry
I
and
was
Dory.
about to watch anything with Terry Funk. You can see the influence on Patrick there on what he does. You know, we're going to call him Rush on here, but you can see the influence on him because some of the things that he does, Jesus,
Even
that guy was
when people are
crazy.
scraping me away, I kind of do his cries. I'm like, ah, cha, ah, cha, ah. Like I still do all that. Like it's just what I got into, and it sticks. You know, when I get cut open, I'm yelling shit like that. It's a tribute, you know. And then when I fought hardcore in May, we got to do a Sabu tribute. Like it was a week after Sabu died.
Yeah.
So hardcore was like, what about if we did a finish and we just did a tribute to Sabu? I'm like, dude, grab a barbed wire steel chair and let's fucking go. And he did. He
Yep.
did the point. As soon as he did the point up, I should send you guys like a clip of like just that happening. The crowd popped hard, and we were the
Oh,
first match. They were
hardcore
bloodthirsty
sent
after
me
us.
it was so good.
Yeah, hardcore's fucking dope at what he does. He's a tough
Thing, I mean,
motherfucker too. He broke his femur afterwards, and like he was still going in tournaments like last month.
Yeah, he's
They just
nuts.
wouldn't let
He's
him
good.
compete. It's fucking crazy.
I mean, I think
Love that guy.
I think
Me too.
the point is that if you are, and this goes by the young guys now who watch some of the more modern wrestling. I think if they actually watched back what Terry Funk did as a wrestler, they just wouldn't understand it, you know, because I mean, they have hardcore matches now, but let's be straight, they're nothing like. I mean, I would argue now the stuff that you guys are doing is more akin to what the old school were like, you know, and that to me is where WWE have failed the public now because they've made it so commercialized, and they know that they made it so commercialized that they're scared to go back to what made them what they are, you know.
Storytelling
And there
and
was some.
storytelling and
Sorry, say
in-ring
that again.
psychology. Storytelling and in-ring psychology. It's a lost art.
Yeah.
Guys like
Yeah.
Terry, you brought up Jake. Jake
Totally.
is amazing because everything you've seen from Jake, Jake drew you in. He drew you into everything he
Yeah,
did to the point that you
yeah.
believed it.
Vader
Like,
too.
But to be fair, I think if you look at that era from sort of the, like I say, the late '80s through to the mid '90s, and I go back to what I said about Rick Rude. You know, he
yep.
played the heel so well. You know, and I believed the part. Yes, everything you know it's scripted. You know what they're doing and everything else,
Yep.
but the fact is, back then there were falling outs between friends about things that were going on in WWF at the time, where even though you knew it wasn't, you know,
Yep.
you believed what they were doing. You believed the character. I mean, I was watching a documentary about Earthquake,
Yep.
and you know, and again, he was one of those guys who, him as a wrestler, I just didn't like him. I thought you're an asshole. You know, you're really not a nice person. But he was actually the complete opposite.
Yep.
If you watch any documentary or speak to anybody in the industry, you'll realize that he was one of the people, you know, who could ever exist. And all these people, you know, Andre the Giant was the same.
Roddy Piper.
You
What's
know,
sad
but
about
again,
Earthquake is like when he died, nobody in the industry really went to his funeral. That's sad as fuck to me.
no,
Yeah.
Garbage.
no, I agree, and I agree, and this is the reason. One of the reasons why if you talk to anybody who I would say is a fan from that era, okay, this is why the vast majority of them do not like Hogan, because even though we grew up watching him, watching the craziness that he created, you know, because
Ultimania, yeah,
let's
yeah.
be honest, because let's be honest, without him, WWF was dead. It was dead.
He
You know,
put it, he
and
stapled it, but like his attitude's just fuck his attitude. I don't like his real life attitude. He's an idiot.
and that's right. And
I'll
what
never
happened
not
was
believe that.
I remember a statement, and he made lots of different comments, but there was a comment from that I always stuck with when as I was growing up from who was the manager of my team, and he said once you become bigger than the club think the club, it's time for you to go. And that was Vince, and basically that was a very similar thing with Vince McMahon and Hogan. Hogan had believed he was than the entire. He didn't just believe he was bigger than the WWE or the WWF. He believed he was bigger than the industry at the time.
Yep.
And as a result of that, the
Same with
was
Inoki.
disgraceful. You know, he was a disgrace. And
when it comes to that, how would you say it? WrestleMania in the early 80s, that star power and everything, you can put a lot of it on Hogan. If Hogan didn't have Piper,
yep,
wouldn't have happened. Piper doesn't get the credit.
Another giant
well,
influence
I
for
mean,
me in Tom's is Piper. Like when I did my promo for
he,
the death match there, my first tournament, and I put the thumbtacks in my head, that was a tribute to the bottle break on his head. That's why I did that.
there was a few things with. I mean, I saw Piper in live as well, and again, he was a guy who you didn't realize how technically he was. Really, I mean, his ability in the ring was actually really understated. Nobody really knew or really understood how good he actually was. I mean, I remember the against Brett. You know, that was a classic example. Intercontinental. You know, and watching there was an interview with Piper, and there was some of the guys who were talking about him, and Piper was one of those guys who he never ever wanted to lose. He never wanted to lose. And if you ever watch any of his big matches, he always agreed to either be disqualified but never pinned. He was never pinned. That was the key. He didn't like being pinned. And of course, being a family friend of Brett's and being so close to Brett, he actually allowed Brett to pin him. And people didn't realize until you actually look at the dynamics behind the scenes. People don't realize how big sort of a tribute that was from Piper to Brett.
It's interesting.
And people don't realize that.
Because I heard an interview when Funk did his first retirement in '97. They had an ECW/WWF house show, and it was Funk versus Brett. You ever get the chance to watch that match? It's amazing. They argued over who would get the win. Brett wanted to put Funk over. Funk wanted to put Brett over. They couldn't decide.
Shout out to Blue Collar Brawler.
Hey, Connor.
Got to square off with him again. Kick him in the face.
He's a good talent. Good talent.
I mean, as I say, I just think that there was that era where, I mean, you brought into it earlier on, and I tell you what, again, it's another guy who, again, people just didn't really just how good that guy was. I mean, it wasn't just his ring skills either. It was his mic skills as well. You know, his mic skills, and you mentioned Ric Flair as well. Ric Flair was up there as well. Another guy who then realised as I got older just how good that guy was. But as I say, both of those guys were just. I mean, there was nobody like them who could work the ring and the mic the way they did.
Yep.
You know,
I agree.
And again, and a Chubb's finisher as well. The elbow from the top rope, that up as a spectacle. Having seen that live as well, incredible. I mean, to see all the old school cameras going off all at once. I mean, that's up there. That's up there with the Superfly splash as well.
All the flashes. You don't see that anymore. All these flashes in the crowd.
You know,
that elbow versus the
epileptic nightmare. Honestly,
seeing LOD throw the Doomsday device live, how impressive is that? Yeah.
Seeing it, and honestly, again, it's something that you can you can't really take into until you've seen it in person. Unfortunately, nobody will ever see it now. But to see it happen it's up there. You know, it's something that really you just can't you can't take it into in person. I mean, people don't realize. I mean, you'll know obviously because you do this, but the fact is that when people go, "Oh, it's fake" and everything else, it's all right. You fall the way these guys fall, do the things that they do,
Yep.
and then come back to me and tell me that it's fake. Come back to me and tell me that it's fake.
100%.
You know, they're athletes at the end of the day. That's what they are. They're athletes, and they're very, very do.
Yep.
Just go do
That's the
2
bottom
sessions
line.
of training for 2 hours each, and then come back and tell me and see how fake it is when you're getting thrown around and into the turnbuckle, getting
Correct.
chopped, getting hit in the face, getting thrown out of the
That's
ring.
right.
Hey,
Exactly.
I mean,
And
Christ. I go on a 4-mile walk with my wife, you know, and she'll and I come, you know, and so imagine being
shout
thrown
out to
around a
Katie.
ring and thrown onto. Yeah, well, I don't know where she is actually. She's somewhere. I don't know where she is.
when it comes to
Shout out to your
guys,
kids too, man.
As I say, yeah. Let me just see if he's there. Actually, I'll see if Ayrton's there. 1 second.
The little Schwans, yeah. Little Aaron. Yeah, I think he's a wrestling fan too.
when it comes to guys who got brought up that don't give the credit, Greg Valentine's another one. Greg Hammer Valentine, amazing in ring.
Yeah.
What's up, Aaron? We gave
Hey, buddy.
he gave like a chop to someone, I think, at
There you
an
go.
indie show.
Who,
That's
Greg?
Ayrton. Yeah, there you go. With
Yeah, Greg, yeah.
Deadpool shirt on.
Yeah. No, Greg Valentine's amazing. Another
What's up,
guy
Aaron,
that
buddy?
played his role
Right, go
well.
on. Go.
Haku and Ming. Haku and Ming don't get credit for what they brought.
Oh, what? Fuck you in a car park in Florida.
How was
I'm in a car park.
I've heard he's the
The
nicest
weirdest
guy
experience. I
you'll
was
ever
coming out of what was Kmart back then,
Yeah.
and I was on vacation with the family, and my father, my dad, who basically he'd been to all the wrestling events with us as well, and he turned around and he went, "That's how cool!" I'm like, "Oh my god!" Just
Yeah.
I remember Kmart.
Mr. Haku, can I sort of say? And the thing was, you couldn't do selfies in those days either, so I was absolutely gutted. But it's one of those things that's in this and it's there forever. But he was with his family, and honestly, I mean, the thing was, of course, he was part of the Heenan family at the time.
Yeah.
You know, and again, he played the part so well, and you don't like him, but I'm gonna say hello anyway. But I went over to him, honestly, the nicest guy in the world. He was so nice. He was, again, one of those guys who didn't get the recognition he deserved. You know,
Nope.
he was a top guy.
He's a guy. I always
He was just one of those.
I think it was 95 Slamboree. Haku versus Road Warrior Hawk. Amazing.
Yep.
Was it a technical match? No. But what they brought, you believed it.
Yeah.
You did, and the thing was, I mean, I was actually this goes through the watching. I mean, I watch sort of some of there's one particular guy, and he's English. Well, he's actually Scottish. Actually, he's on I can't remember his channel on YouTube. He gets all the big guys on. I think it's Beyond Wrestling or something like that.
I think I know
And
what
they
you're
were
talking
talking about. Yeah, and he gets all the superstars on. He gets all the superstars.
World Beater Wrestling?
And he was talking about.
No,
What?
I think he's talking
World
about the guy
Beater
who does
Wrestling?
the Shane Douglas interviews.
Oh shit, yeah, it's a
He's
different
the
Yeah,
buddy
I mean-
who interviews. He's a part of the Shane Douglas podcast.
Yeah, Damien
no.
Slater.
This guy.
World Beater.
Yeah, well, anyway, they were talking about the toughest guys in wrestling.
Yep.
And there was a panel of these guys, and they were all really old school WWE wrestlers. And it's funny, every single one of them said the same guy. They all said Haku.
Yep.
They said, you do not realize how tough that guy was, not just in the ring, but outside of the ring as well. And they were telling stories about, there was one where they're in some bar somewhere, and some guy, typical thing where you everything that you're told, and basically, and somebody hit Haku and thought they were going to put him down, and Haku just went, "What just happened? Somebody just tried to hit me. What happened?" And it's like, and they just said he literally just shrugged it off as if, like, yeah, that was him. He was just so tough. But you wouldn't have known it. He was
He
He's
bit
a
off
great guy,
somebody's
you know,
nose.
and
They were bred different. I know when you talk about the old history of the business, back when they were running the carnivals, a lot of the old timers will tell you this. They were pretty well told, a fan challenges you in the ring, you take it on, but if you lose, try to find another line of work because
yeah,
we're not bringing you back.
Yeah.
So they were bred
no,
tough.
no, and yeah,
We
yeah.
we
I mean, the thing was, I mean, I just think, as an overall, as I say, that I just think that era of wrestling was just, it was just different. The mindset was different,
yeah,
you know. I mean, because whilst these guys were being, they were being paid well, while the top guys were being paid well. I mean, the lower guys weren't. We know that. But the reality was that they were a bit like you guys in that a lot of the lower guys did it for the love of it. They did it
yeah.
because they enjoyed it, you know, and they wanted it because it was, you know, it was something that, you know, they enjoyed, they loved, they wanted to carry on, pass the torch, whatever it was. It was just unfortunate, really, that you had guys like Hogan
Mm-hmm.
who really stole the limelight and all the cash for everybody else. Because I
Yep.
think if Hogan wasn't around and he left at the right time, if Vince had been brave enough to get rid, that the WWF would have been a slightly different prospect, and there would have been more people who would have been given the chance to shine.
I agree 100%. And there's
One
guys
of the
who
biggest farces in the industry.
there's guys even who Hogan refused to work with that could have been brought in that
Yep.
were amazing. We never got the opportunity to see Hogan versus Brody. Brody, I heard that
Well,
almost came
again,
close. That's another guy who
well,
had
I mean,
gone way before.
there was one. I didn't know this. I didn't know this up until recently, and it was an interesting conversation. It was an interview with Bad News Brown before he passed away, and
Bad news.
News Brown again. You know,
God,
he
Zombie.
he was a guy. Well, he was a guy um, who again, he played the heel so well. He was a
yeah.
very, very simplistic wrestler, wasn't he?
Oh
Typical
no,
wrestler. He was a brawler, you know, and
he
but
was good when he
he
fought in
could
WFI.
Well,
well when he was well. The thing was, I didn't realize that when he left the WWF, one of the reasons he left was because he was actually promised a title
To
run.
be the Ultimate
yep.
Warrior.
Well,
He was promised a title run,
Rick
and
Rude got the same treatment.
yep, exactly.
Hogan didn't
And the
go
thing,
against Rude. Nope.
correct. Well, the thing was, he never. Well, the thing is, Hogan had. I mean, everybody knows that Hogan didn't want to go in the ring with Rude.
No.
Everybody knows that.
No.
You know, because Rude was far and away. He was by far and away the better wrestler, by far and away. You know, I
The
mean,
guy,
it still makes me laugh to this day that Hogan got away. You know, and it was only because of the way he was sold, because of the American dream thing that you know, that's, you know,
the guy who
it
didn't
annoys
get
me
the
really
run
thinking about it.
also because of Hogan, who should have, right? Especially for sticking up for the boys they did. And I forget his name right now,
Yeah.
but it will come to me. Buddy, you slapped the 2020 report. Buddy, you slapped John Stossel backstage.
Oh, trying to think.
You know what I'm talking about.
And going back to what we were saying
Maybe,
earlier, being a wrestler, seeing your own blood and tasting it is probably one of the best fucking parts of it, dude, to me. So I
It's
love
the
it.
adrenaline rush.
It is, yeah.
but the thing is, what you just described there, that's what that in itself is the essence of what made the WWF what it was.
I love being in
It was
pain and
the
fucking having nooks and crannies and shit, dude. Like, I can feel it every day, and I'm just like, oh man, that sucks. But I'm like, you know what it's from though? Wrestling, and then I just get happy about it. You know? I don't know.
but the thing was though, you watch the old school wrestling back. You watch the old school wrestling back where they actually get where they know they're hurt, right? They know they're hurt, right? But
And
you
they
can
push through.
see the enjoyment that they're getting from it.
Yep.
You're just pushing
You
through
know, and
still.
that's the
Thinking, fuck.
difference.
Yeah.
That's the difference. You know, that's the difference. I mean, I remember the day when they first brought things like cage matches in, and everyone's like, "What the hell is this? This is people are going to get hurt and everything else," and they did. They did. But you could see that the wrestlers themselves, they were so into it, so into the sport, and they were so wanting to be part of this that it was magical to them. But you don't get that these days.
Even the psychology of a cage match now is completely different. Like, how often do you actually see the cage being used? Back in the day, it'd be a good 5 minutes, and then you knew, okay, we're getting blood, we're getting a show, and people don't recognize a match can be so slim. This simple.
No. I mean, this to me, this is one of the reasons why I think if you actually. If I was in charge of creative talent now, if I was rewriting what WWE and WWF were doing now, okay, I would take a look at the reruns of that era, okay, and go back to those sort of events. I mean, let's be straight. Back in the day, we had a handful of events. You started off with Royal Rumble, then there was SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Survivor Series. That was it, okay, and then you had the occasional what they would call Saturday night's main event. Okay, and those are all you had. Go back to that. I mean, all these countless, tons and tons of different events that they have now. All you've done is diluted.
Yeah, it's oversaturated.
You used to have a pay-per-view or something, right? Those storylines would go on for 2 months. You get that video package. They'd find a way to draw you in. Now you don't get that.
You don't.
There's some companies out there that don't even fucking do promos, man.
Lasts a month, and that's it. Promos, another thing. You used to watch Monday Night Raw. You'd always have that split screen that would have a promo going, showing for the next match. It was great.
Yep. Correct. And you see, and this is the thing. You know what? I think what they've got to do, they've got to go back. Or if it was me, I would go back to keeping it simple, because those events alone were, that's what everybody waited for. And like you say, you had 2 or 3 months in between each event, and there was a main storyline leading up to those events, every single one of them. But there were so many storylines intertwined between them, that things were building up. So, you'd have the Royal Rumble, and then people would get, you'd have maybe a Saturday night main event in between, but then you'd have the SummerSlam, and there'd be something. Then you'd have Survivor Series, and there was always, WrestleMania, and then you'd have Survivor Series. And Survivor Series, of course, was where they brought all the stuff together, and then you had teams that were competing against each other, which had so many dynamics going on in the ring, and so many things being covered. It was the best time a fan. It was great. They don't have that now. And I remember there was a comment earlier on from somebody, you'll have to look back, but somebody said AEW is basically local wrestling that's managed to get a TV contract.
Yeah, Shadow said that.
So, it's almost like that. It's they've been very, very lucky to get what they've got. And in all honesty, I mean, they're keeping it simple. And I think that's the way it should be.
What I
genuinely, I was thinking the other day actually about when did WWE actually drop off? I think it was probably around 98, 99 for me.
I wouldn't say 98, 99. I'd say they kept it running good until around 2010. When they went PG and it was only one main storyline, that's when I lost interest.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it now, and as I say, I mean, the moment was sort of really the last of the old school.
Yeah.
They had nothing to bring it through, and unfortunately, it's
bright out.
It's in a real unrecoverable position now. It's in a flat spin. It's where they don't know what to do with it.
I think you have the
major thing now.
What I like about WWE right now, you have talented workers with old school guys who were brought up the right way, where you can implement a little bit more of that old school. Like I watch a lot of what Punk does now. I like it because it reminds me of that old school vibe of storytelling's premiere. Gunther,
Yeah,
he's a flashback. I love what Gunther's doing. I
he's an old.
watched,
I tell you what,
Gunther's great.
school
Yeah.
wrestler in a new world.
I like
yes,
his top rope choke
100%.
where he lays you across the top and then he just fucking chokes you with his foot and stuff. I want to start doing that myself.
He's
Well,
just a fat.
I
He's
heard
a fat Kawada.
I heard a.
Yeah.
Well, I actually heard a statement which was brilliant, and I use it more often actually. He's an analog human in a digital world.
Yep,
Yeah,
I'd
that's
agree.
about right.
They need
You
they
know,
need more guys like Gunther who bring. When I watch Gunther, it brings legitimacy back.
Hmm.
Like you watch Gunther and you can't say, "Oh, that's fake."
No.
No,
no,
you can't.
no,
Those shots,
no.
you can't
As I
say it.
say, you,
And that was the match of
you
him versus Goldberg last night. Goldberg brought that realism. Gunther brought that realism, and it reminded me of that. Watching a guy like Stan Hansen against Bruiser Brody, it reminded me of watching Haku
yeah,
against Hawk. It reminded me of those days.
So I have to check
Like,
this
yeah. I
out.
mean, yeah. I mean, as I say, it was again he's a person who he's different. Gunther's different. He
yeah,
is totally different to the current crop.
like I see a guy like Tala Tonga, Haku's oldest kid, I believe oldest, but the guy's a monster. He looks just like
Yeah,
Haku. Use him like
yeah,
Haku. Hype up the fact that he's Haku's kid.
Yeah.
That, in my opinion, they should be doing that because that's a
yeah. I
legacy
mean,
that.
as I say, there was just so much. I think what annoyed me about the some of the stuff that went on in sort of I knew things were going wrong when they started doing the thing with the recycling of characters.
Yep.
So what had happened is you get like say Demolition disbanded, and then they knew that they had a wrestler there on the books, and they had to pay him. So you had
Yep.
Smash, for instance, who was there, and they put him as the Repo Man. And it was a stupid character. It was like the most ridiculous thing ever. There's nothing believable about it at all.
No, but
And I got into
the when they started doing that 91 to I believe it was around 94, where they started doing that, they really brought the comedy characters. That's when I think a lot of
yeah,
us that were real old school fans, we switched over to WCW because WCW had the better
correct.
product at that time. Way better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it was, and that was the problem. That was the problem. They they forgot almost to they forgot to access sort of what wanted, that they forgot how to do it. You know,
Like
they thought that
characters
people wanted the
characters in wrestling, yes, it's a good thing. Me and Rory will speak about Abdullah the Butcher
Yeah.
or the Sheik.
Yeah.
Those two guys, amazing workers, amazing character.
He
The
cared about
Sheik,
the gimmick.
yep, the Sheik protected his gimmick a lot like how Piper did. Never
Yep.
lose. It was the
yeah,
downfall of Detroit and Maple Leaf Wrestling to a certain degree. Yes,
Yep.
but it worked. How they used to use Andre back in the territory days. It worked because nobody ever got, how would you say, bored of Andre because Andre would be there for 3 months,
Yep.
leave, go back. It was the proper way of doing things.
yeah, yeah. Say, I mean, I just think, I mean, I just kind of, I just look back at sort of history, and I look back at some of the things that we saw and the things that we experienced back in the day, and I think we were very, very lucky to live through that time.
I agree.
Very lucky to live through that time because I think now you've got kids who are growing up watching wrestling now, but they don't talk about it the way we used to talk about it.
No,
You
I
know, I mean,
remember
I remember.
I moved back to North Bay and I believe it was, what was it, '01, Pat?
Yeah, around then.
And me and Pat were, this is after the invasion angle. we would all sit around and talk like, who wins this? What is the product
Like every
become?
fucking
If
Tuesday, yeah, we'd be
ECW
like, "Oh, did
wins,
you watch Raw?" And
what
yeah, we
happens?
just fucking be like, "Yeah."
Yeah, and that's the thing. I remember like, I mean, I remember back in the day, you had to have, in order to watch WWF, you had to have Sky Television, which was satellite television. You had to have that.
Yeah.
Because the UK was miles behind in television, so we only had back with like four. I think it was 4 terrestrial channels. I think it was sort of 4 TV channels, and then everything else was based on you had to have satellite TV, and a satellite TV was expensive back in the day. So unfortunately, you had to be part of a group of people who had the ability to pay for it. So we've lost
Oh
somebody.
man,
I
that
think,
loss.
Yeah.
Is it gonna kick us out again? Because it's like fucking 2:50.
I don't know. Maybe.
Instagram only allows you an hour to go live, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
really, is that what it is? There's a limit on it. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
In a way, but I think it's because of algorithms and junk. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But no, as I
I'm
said,
sorry.
we would need to live through that era, and I think now, you've got the guys like Patrick there who are trying to bring some of this old kind of as a good thing, because
Well,
you
I get it from my trainer, like Dan Jarrus there, like he trains us a certain way. He doesn't understand death match as I do, because he's been taught a way to build up in like matches and stuff, whereas death match is bad, right? But at the same time, when I do my death matches, unless the promoters say, dude, just hype up the violence, please don't put any wrestling in there, then I'll say. But if they go out there and put on a good show, then what I'll do is I will take I'll take my wrestling knowledge stuff, put wrestling into it, and then get into the fight around like 4 or 5 minutes into the match. And once you see some light tubes getting used, then we'll tacks. Then we'll move it to the barbed wire, and then there's like an apparatus with barbed wire stapled to whatever, and like that's our finish. And that's what
cool.
I tried to do in my first death match with Wade. Like I was trying to beat him with wrestling at first, and then I'm like, okay, I gotta get the fuckery going. Because he threw me through carpet strips first. Then I grabbing the carpet strips, I put him through barbed wire, grabbing whatever and doing whatever, and then he sandwiched me with the barbed wire chair with the senton, and I lost. I tried to build it like that, but I got critiqued by certain people being like, dude, it was just this and this and this and this. I'm like, I don't think you saw what I was trying to do, sir. Not my problem, but that's what I tried to portray. Sean, Maddie, and Dylan, when they watched it, they're like, dude, you're fucking natural at this shit. I'm like, because I am trained, I've just never done it with weapons yet until now. Now, since I've got a taste for it, I'm like, I love seeing my own blood and being covered in it and being like, come on, motherfuckers, and getting them going. It's fun.
Yeah, but again, this goes back to what I was saying though, in that there's I think genuinely, we were very, very lucky to experience what we did.
Oh yeah.
I'm not talking. I mean, obviously you guys do it, but I'm talking from a fan's perspective, and you guys are fans as well, obviously. So, we experienced what we did because of the fact that it doesn't happen these days. You don't experience that level of intensity
No.
as you did back then.
Yeah.
And I think that is, I think part and parcel of that is the social media, in that what they see is not shocking anymore, or they've seen it all and they've seen everything else.
Yeah.
People don't understand.
What they should do is shock the world and go back to simplicity again. Go back to simplicity.
The pop value that we had when we would hear the glass break, when we would hear that, ooh, what a rush, when we would hear all that, Bret Hart coming out, you don't get that. I watched the Royal Rumble this year, and they had the female Royal Rumble, right? I'm sitting back and I'm thinking, okay, watching. Nobody even has music that you're like, oh, fuck yeah,
No,
this person's coming out. The only one that
well,
got that
funnily
was
enough,
Alexa Bliss. That was it.
Yep.
well, the thing is, if you there's one I have it on CD. I don't know where it is. I'll see if I can find it. But it's in fact, let me just see which one it was, because there's an album that you have to listen to. If you've never listened
Yeah,
to it before, you have to listen to it. And
probably
it's one
gonna
of
knock it off
the
too.
it's one of the WWE albums, or one of the WWF albums, where it's all the old school tracks.
Yeah.
You know, and if you watch, or if you watched it back and you listen, like you brought out, then you said, you know, about the White Rush, you know, that thing, you know, you instantly stood up. You're like, oh my god, this is amazing. You know, Demolition again, another epic
Or
sound
they're like, break
into.
excellent, yeah.
Hearing
And
the bagpipes.
you know, and correct the bagpipes again. You know,
Yeah.
but I tell you what. And when they rewrote the Bret Hart soundtrack, they actually messed that up, because it wasn't as good as the original.
No.
It wasn't as good as the original Heart Foundation track. No, you know, but again, you had soundtracks. As soon as they went, they were, come here, mate, say good night, come here. It's night time here for my boy, so he's going to say good night.
Oh, good night, buddy.
Night, Aaron, buddy. Have good sleep.
See you later, mate. Take
What
it
time
easy,
is it
mate.
in the UK?
It's about 8 p.m. here.
Right on.
Jesus. It's like
Yeah,
3
about
here.
8 p.m. here. Yeah, it's about 8 p.m. here, so it's, yeah.
3 hours, Ed. You're not in Australia. Like,
But
when I
no,
talk to
there was
Joel Bateman, we talk, like, he's a deathmatch guy. I talk to him, like, around this time, like, already in the next day, like, in the morning. He's, like, 16 hours ahead of me.
Yeah, it's mental when you get used to what the time differences are. It's difficult, you know.
I know.
I've got a lot of family live over. I've got a lot of family that live in Australia, and it's just a nightmare trying to keep up with them. You know, you're like
My
that going.
sister's in Thailand,
One in their evening, I can't remember.
Taiwan.
But yeah, as I say, in terms of soundtracks, there's just several songs. I mean, you look back at you know, the era, like Hogan's intro,
Yep.
Hogan's intro, you know, and then of course Macho Man. But honestly, you look back at the time, every intro song was epic.
Yeah.
It was epic.
Jim Johnson.
I mean, genuinely, I genuinely can't think of an intro which was like, yeah, that's a bit average. It's all right. It's not bad. You
They
knew
all
who
did
they
it.
were.
Johnson
Character,
like,
they all
huge
did
shit
it.
when it came to music. Yeah.
Well, the last of what I would call the modern stuff. I mean, we'll say modern day. It's still 15, 16 years old now. Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Yep.
As soon as you hear the glass smash, bang,
You knew.
you're there. It reminds me.
I even remember watching Mania 38. Was that the one where he came back to fight Owens?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
brought me back to actually being a fan again.
It's
Because
gonna.
even though it wasn't the match that it could have been, like it wasn't that old Stone Cold, but the energy that Austin brought and hearing that glass break, it brought you back to being a fan.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It's gonna cut us
He-
off in like 2 minutes.
All good, buddy.
Yeah, we've already wasted
so
another
bad,
hour,
man.
boys.
Yeah.
Could talk about this all night, man.
Oh yeah,
I know.
right.
I can talk about you. I can talk to you guys for hours about this shit.
Same.
The thing is, I'm going to get over to Canada at some point. I'm going to have to catch up with you guys.
Oh, Mr.
I
Oh,
was
British.
just
Mr. British
drinking
man.
cider and just
Now, what
Mr.
kind of
British
cider
man.
is that?
just
Give me a follow, buddy.
old Mount. It's called. It's very, very good.
Okay,
It's
I'm gonna have to try that.
It's a mango and passion fruit cider. Good.
Nice.
Good.
Can you still get a
But yeah.
Teddy's beer?
Oh, you do, but it's an old school beer now. You won't find it everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can still get it.
I
You can still
remember
get it.
getting Tetley's, and Tetley's was amazing. I miss it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some. The thing is, there's some really, really good beer houses now. I mean, we've got some. I mean, I live in Manchester in the UK, and good places over here which are just popping up everywhere now, and they're very, very good. independent breweries, and we've even got independent gin houses and
Yep.
whiskey houses now that are in Manchester. It's really getting really, really popular over here now.
Good.
But yeah, it's, you know, in terms of off the shelf stuff, this is one of those things where you have about 14 of these, and you realise when you get up that it's a bit strong.
It's
You
set
can't really
in.
walk through the door.
It's set in.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. So always fun and games. But it's, as I say, could sit here and talk for hours, man.
Yeah.
Oh, about wrestling and just shooting the shit with you guys. This is awesome.
Just life in
Yeah, it's been
general.
great.
It's you know.
Thank you for joining.
The so look for me. You know, it's always a pleasure, and you know, to meet new people and things, and obviously you know, to chew the fat on things, which I think are actually important. In the grand scheme of things, it's important.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
Now, the last question, because you're close to it. Did you attend the last Aussie show?
Sorry, say that again.
The last Black Sabbath show. Did you attend that, or?
I didn't go. I didn't go because I would have loved to have gone, but at the moment we've got Oasis in town.
Fair, yeah.
They're a Manchester band,
Oh,
and they're coming over. They're coming over, and they're just
Love
filling it
Oasis.
everywhere at the moment. So, you know, they've sold tickets everywhere, and they're in town this weekend. So everybody's in town for that. Couldn't get a ticket, but I went to one of the original 6 with Oasis. So I'm a real veteran. I'm sort of
lucky.
you know, I went to one of their. In fact, I'll send Patrick to link everybody. I went to one of their original shows at Main Road in '96. If you do a search for that, and
That's dope.
that was it. That was absolutely incredible.
Now,
I will.
because
That sounds
me and
amazing.
Pat are both Motorhead fans. Did you get the opportunity to
Again,
see Motorhead?
I never got the opportunity. Wish I did, but again, huge fan of those. I mean, Lemmy set the standard. I mean, again, he had a WWE connection as well. You know, with obviously
What am I getting
with Triple H. So, and again, probably one of those tunes where you can go, you know what? Everybody knows that. You know, when they hear the game start, they know it. You know,
The tracks he was
But
doing
yeah,
for
the thing-
WWE, you can't beat. The original Evolution tune. Great,
Yeah.
great song.
yeah. As I say, it was.
We got
It was
15
they were a
seconds.
genius.
15
Got 15 seconds, boys.
Okay.
You boys have a good one. Thank you, Rory, for hosting this. This has been amazing.
You're welcome.
It's been
Thank
great.
you.
I got to get something to eat. Love you
I gotta
guys.
drink more.
Look after yourself, chat.